Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Aparuta de sangamata satavara ye soravanta bamunchantu satan. So this evening is the observance, and the past few weeks we've had some rather traumatic experiences with the sudden death of Venerable Honda at the Peace Pagoda, and then Alan Cole. And so this is where you see this is a Devaduta, or a messenger, heavenly messenger, coming to warn us. And so it's always advisable to and encouraged to look at, to contemplate death as a subject of contemplation. Begin to use the term and to observe how even the word affects your consciousness, just by thinking the word death. And how that affects consciousness. Now that's a reflection. Just the word itself has its effect. As they say, the word love and happy life and on positive terms, and they have effect on your consciousness in the moment. And the word death has its own message. I remember one time in the book Mindfulness, Path to the Deathless, when they were going to publish that, and then they objected to first there's going to be the Path to the Deathless, and then there's this objection because deathless had the word death in, even though deathless, but because the word death was in it, that's how mindfulness seemed to be make it a little better, or ease the pain or the reaction. Now that's and just how publishers see things and editors and whatnot. So it is something to reflect upon and observe, and just noticing when death is the end of something, so that it. It's what we haven't experienced yet, in terms of a physical death. So we recognize that that's in the future. And so that right now, at this very moment, the subject of death is what is going to happen, which we're all eventually and inevitably going to experience in the future. And so this is to establish this sense of knowing, of pure conscious awareness within the point of awareness that we're experiencing at this very moment. So that when we think of our own death, and it does become personal again, becomes, what will I do, what will happen to me in the future? And how much longer do I have left to live? Speculation about me and mine and my body, my health, and the inevitable experience of death that everyone is going to meet at the end of their life. Now, knowing that and seeing it in terms of personal identity is one way of looking at it. But then in terms of reflecting on it, but not taking the personal elements out of it, the assumptions that I am my body, and that I am this age, I'm the age of my body, and I am the appearance of my body, and I'm the gender of my body, and the color of my skin, and my height, and my proportions are me, and this is my life, and the experience memories of pain. None of us want a painful death. We'd like to have a peaceful death. We hear or we see or we observe people that die in great pain, suffering. And in regards to suicide, what happens, that's the end where you take your own, kill yourself. And of course, what is that about? And of course, opening to the present moment, we observe that right now death is, when I intentionally think the word death, it does give a sense of just finishing off something. It can be ominous because death is always associated with blackness or the unknown. There's a lot of fear generated around it, and it's not, doesn't convey some kind of happiness or beauty usually to us. It's usually, when we talk about death, it's usually about horror films or murders or things like that, tragedies. But maybe, this experience of living with a human body for a lifetime, the important thing is to prepare for the death of the body. So in my own experience, this preparation for death is, of course, very much what we're concerned with in Sangha life. Penetrating the truths, recognizing the deathless, realizing deathlessness is the aim of this life. And it's not to prepare me as a person for death, as some kind of make it an easy passage, because who knows how I'm going to die? What kind of conditions will arise in which I'll experience that through consciousness as this body itself packs up and drops away. So then the reality of deathlessness, because this is not something you can't know. The deathless or the amatta Dhamma is reality. And it's this awakeness to reality or to Dhamma that is the importance of the Buddhist path. Why we're here, why we're practicing, why we're living this life is to recognize the deathless. So when we ordain and we take the precepts and all that, it's to realize Nibbana. So realizing Nibbana can sound like some kind of spiritual goal that I have to hope to attain. But when I think of it in that way, it's still put into personal terms. I have to spend my life as a celibate monk, practicing mindfulness, denying myself all the sensory pleasures in order to prepare myself for my death, or to try to attain Nibbana as some kind of personal achievement or goal in life. So then getting back to this basic ignorance, this avijja. So avijja means not knowing reality. Avijja is living in a world of delusion, of illusion. And reality is always here and now. It's not something separate or remote or far away. It's not an abstract idea or a metaphysical kind of positioning of the intellect. And so when we use this word reality, realization, this is the point of awareness, practices of mindfulness. Because as I've said, I don't know how many times, mindfulness is the path to the deathless, or the gate to the deathless. And then deathless is mindfulness, in other words. Now when you try to make yourself mindful, then it's coming from the self-view again. And I've got to practice mindfulness. That's still operating from the delusion of a self, that I'm somebody who needs to be mindful. And this is where it gets very confusing for most people, because we, even our monastic life is full of self, of me and my practice and what I think and what I believe in and how I would like things to be and how it should be, and about views of oneself, about one's ability or spiritual attainment or lack of them. So therefore, I had, before coming to Amaravati in the early 80s at Chithurst, I had this, there's certain things that seem to come into one's consciousness as some kind of nimitta or sign that gets, that would, I've become quite obsessed with it for a while. This was at Chithurst in those 5 years I spent there, where this symbol of the island became very strong. Because this is in the Kappa's questions in the Sutta Nipata, and it struck me one time reading this Sutta Nipata, and this particular passage, there is an island you cannot go beyond, and so forth. This immediately kind of something, in kind of an intuition, because this sense of an island is getting more and more centered in awareness, as the awareness is less striving on a personal level, less, organized and held in views and opinions about meditation practice. This and the island is a symbol. It's a symbol for Nibbana, the deathless. Because in terms of this present moment, this island or this point of awareness, that we're experiencing awareness from a point of consciousness, and so the bodies we have are conscious forms in the universe. They seemingly separate conscious forms, but we're experiencing consciousness through these conditions: the human body, the human condition, the four elements: earth, fire, water, and air, and then space and consciousness. And it's here and now. And so this is the reality of this moment. This is the island, or as I said before, this is the center of the universe.